we talk about religion on the show, but this particular topic is not about religion. It's about language. If you've ever heard of the Tower of Babel, now the creationists believe that, everybody spoke one language until God didn't like the fact that they were building a really tall tower, and he separated them all by making them speak different languages. There is a study that has been going on to follow where languages actually come from. Not from a book, and the Tower of Babel is total horseshit anyway, but that's beside the point. They were able to go back at least 15,000 years with certain words, because certain words across all cultures seem to just resonate. Several words like mother, to pull, man, and several other words like eye, male, fire, hand, to hear. So if you came across a Neanderthal, chopping down at the local IGA, and he's wearing a Republican pin, you can use these same words and they'll understand you.
Shit.
little political humor there. But no.
Neanderthals do not shop at the IGA.
Yeah. You're right. They shop at the Pick and Save. Anyway. Little plug for them. But the thing is, though, with languages, it's the one thing that binds us. Even though languages over time evolve, like humans have been evolving for the last several million years, languages also evolve. And if you go back to the root language, you can learn so much more about our cultures, because certain words will just lead to stuff that you probably didn't even realize that it existed. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, linguistics is definitely an interesting subject. I love to occasionally look up the etymology of words to figure out why we call the words we use. And these linguists are attempting to trace the evolution of language back further than anyone else has done before, taking note of certain speech sounds that tend to change or not change, and comparing languages and regions that had influence with each other. And as you mentioned, the article compares the changes in languages to biological evolution. And I think that's a great comparison. I think you can even include other things in that, like art and religion. Given enough generations, change can be seen in all sorts of things, especially things like this.
Interesting. Medusa, you were very interested in this story. What are your thoughts?
I too am interested in the etymology of words, as is Joe. And I, of course, jumped all over this like black on white as a religious story.
That's not a religious story in this instance.
No, I'm not going there.
Okay.
Not going there.
It says Tower of Babel.
It should say Tower of Republicans. No, I'm sorry.
If Joe and I wanted to go there, we could go. Let me tell you, baby.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to go a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There are two Greek words, xenos and glossa. Xenos means foreigner, and glossos means tongue, foreign tongue. That's all it means. And if people would read the original Greek, they would get the meaning. I've been saying this for years. Or read the actual Hebrew that was written.
Yes.
Or the Aramaic. You have to go very far back, as Packard said, to get to the original etymology of words. And I think it's fascinating, and more people would learn about the English language and how we speak today if they would go back and study etymology.
Yes.
And the words are really simple, right, Joe? When you go and you break them down, they're not as hard as people think they are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's really interesting. George Carlin put it best. I mean, there are thoughts, and then there are words, and then you assign a word to a thought, and you're stuck with that word with that thought. It's really kind of cool. Language is what, like I said, it binds us together, and unfortunately, at the same time, it separates us all apart. Strife, your thoughts?
The thing I'm curious about is, like, you can trace back the languages, I'm guessing, the characters that are similar to them and such, but pronunciations in ancient languages, I don't understand if you could actually learn what their pronunciations were. Like kind of like Jesus and Jesus. Like you say two different ways. Like why is it called Jesus now and then they called it Jesus? How the heck did that pronunciation miscommunicate or something?
That's a great question, but I'm not a linguistic expert on that, so I really couldn't give you. What's that?
Isn't Medusa kind of like one?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think she's I think she's just a something she likes to study. But Medusa, can you answer? Can you answer his question?
Jesus. Jesus is a variation of the Spanish version of Jesus. So that's where you get that. Just like you get Jeebus from Packard. I had to do it.
Packard just invented a new language, everybody.
There you go.
Praise the Jeebus.
Praise the Jeebus.
From what I understand about it, they do trace back writings. They look for clay tablets and scrolls and stuff like that. And he's right. They don't know how everything was pronounced back in the day.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. Like, you know, like you can, like, I don't think they can read that actually. They could possibly, I don't know, like decode what it means, but I don't think they could actually read it. Like, you know, like Mayan writing. You know, you can't read it.
You know, that's there was a tablet many years ago. You're talking about the Mayans, but I'm going to go back even further. When they went to the Egyptians, it was called the keystone.
Rosetta Stone.
The Rosetta Stone. Thank you, the Rosetta Stone. And so they were basically they didn't know they actually had it until one day they figured it out. The one language was actually put together because of this one stone in this case, and it had a root language that was able to use that to translate the other parts of the language, and they were able to put it together.
If I remember correctly, the Rosetta Stone had Greek on it, and pretty much they just translated from, because they knew how to Greek. They know what Greek was, and they knew how to translate Greek, but they didn't know how to translate Egyptian. But
right.
Yeah, but there was a variation between the Rosetta Stone and the Egyptian.
The difference, though, with the Mayan cultures, the ones in America, is we burned all the books. We pretty much killed their population, so there's no more Mayans around that are speaking Mayan. You know, there's no.
Oh yeah.
So that's
there are languages that come and go. I mean, look at Esperanto.
But we have books and they have temples full of writing. You know, like they have the hieroglyphs and such that we can't read, which is kind of sad. You know, like they look like symbols and stuff, but you know what they actually mean, who knows?
Yeah, well, that's why we have special linguists out there that actually study this stuff, and they put their whole lives into it, so they can actually translate it. That's how, like, when they decoded stuff during the wars, they would do all this extra stuff so they could translate what they're saying, so they could figure out what's going on. Anyone have any last thoughts on this?
There's a fascinating document in Sweden. It's supposed to be a Bible. It's called the Gygax Maximus. And it's the biggest Bible ever written. Mm-hmm. It has beautiful illustrations of it. And all I want to say to people is to keep that name in your mind, Google it, look at it. They just recently got it all on print. And if you like to look at books, you know, I don't believe in the Bible, but I will look at pretty books. I'm a girl. What can I say?
Well, nothing wrong with that.
But I would say explore that document there. It's been lovingly restored, and that's all I have to say about its short show.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Google it.
Google it. Yeah, Google it. Google it.